you went in, you and your husband Parker went in. I will just bust out this evangelism training. And I was thinking about it while you were talking, that I can think of no better evangelism training than to be filled up, because that's going to have a longer lasting effect than here's what you do in this, blah, 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 blah. Like if
Totally.
you're like filled and you're like, dude, you got to come see this, I don't care if you know Jesus or not, come. And it's really cool that you guys are seeing salvations, even from like young dudes, it's like, that's, and I think another thing I want to point out is I bring people on to talk about this a lot, especially you, Jessi, about revival. And whoever's watching this or listening to this, you know who you are. There's a tendency to kind of shift into just the negative. Oh, the days we're living in. Oh, no. Whoa. Oh, no. Look at what's happening over here in World War III and blah, blah, blah. And even now people are like, no, Jeff, this is serious, but this is serious. What Jessi's talking about matters more than anything else happening out there, because if you get this wherever you are, you don't have to be in Pasadena, you don't have to be at Asbury, you don't have to be others. It's everywhere. It's happening everywhere, and it's going to continue to build. If you get this is what matters. This is what changes nations. This is what changes cities, communities. God's presence changes that. So no amount of you worrying is going to add anything to whatever's happening over there in whatever country. It's not going to work. This is how it happens right here, what Jessi's talking about. So
yeah, I love that. And I think it's like, okay, so take California, for example, right?
mm-hmm.
So I would say, like, just brass tacks. So I think something that's really important to indicate is, I think sometimes we could have wrong perspectives of God.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, God would never send judgment because he sent Jesus. But we don't realize that if we reject Jesus, then we're putting judgment on ourselves, right? So if you reject the sacrifice, right, then what the sacrifice covers for you is not available. And like right now, if you take different states of what's happening in the nation, right, like America very much so has been in rebellion to things of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we've removed him from our schools, we've removed him from government, we've removed him from all these different areas, but yet we still want the blessings of God. And that's out of order. So it just doesn't like logically even make sense.
Yeah.
Like, right. So to like reject someone, like even your own parents, if you're like, I want nothing to do with you, but I want like all the things that you have.
Yeah. I want inheritance when you die, even though
Yeah,
you're
like
dead to me,
yeah,
like
like it just doesn't make
yeah.
sense, right? But what's happening is, and this is why, Jeff, revival is the only hope for America and
Yeah.
why it is so important. And for every believer should be of vital importance to you, is because without revival, so revival is for the church. And it's us remembering, it's coming back to our first love. It's it's sovereign, but it's also purposeful. And it's being like okay, so something we say in our family is we have it predetermined in our mind that we will obey Jesus no matter what. And for us, it's and I think what a lot of people don't realize is they think that revival is like magic fairy dust, right? But I think that we need to make decisions as individuals, all of us included, of okay, if God starts to break out in my living room tonight, what is going to be my response?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And I believe that right now, Jeff, every single person that's watching this, there's an invitation from the Lord to right now, like today, like right this second on 228, right now, make the decision. When God pours out his spirit, what are you going to do with that?
Mm.
And I know that for us, we have already talked to our staff. We have already budgeted for it, that when God breaks out his spirit, like we're not going to tamper with it. We're just going to host it. And I think a lot of people, I think in their homes or at parks or at their churches or even at their workplaces, God is actually sending revival right now. But as it starts to come in and as his presence starts to move in, we're like, well, I got a meeting at 1:00, so gotta go. Like, can't stay here. And we don't realize, I think, Jeff, all over the nation, we have a massive problem when it comes to quenching the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
we want revival, but revival is so inconvenient. Like it's disruptive, and that's why it works.
Yeah.
But it will inconvenience you, but it is the only hope for America, because we need to be sensitive to what the Lord wants, and we need to respond to him.
Yeah.
And obey him. And that's when you see the outworkings then later on of mass evangelism, mass crusades. All of that is the outworkings of a church that's revived, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely does. All right.